Welcome to Zack's Tool Shop. I am Zack. This is my shop, and this is what it looks like most of the time. I was thinking about cleaning up because I was making a video. It's like, well, that would be disingenuous and erroneous. So I just left it exactly. See, that's what I mean. This is what happens every day. I left it exactly like it was. I was cutting out some templates for Easter. I'm going to hang this up so I can make various rabbits for Easter, pallet wood rabbits, plywood rabbits, whatever. So I have a template, then I'll hang this up to the little hole. I made one of those, and that's not what we're working on today. We're going to be building a pallet wood crate, and I think I'm going to whitewash it and put some metal handles on top, just like a little decorative piece for a house that you can use to store stuff, so it has a function, plus it's attractive, hopefully. We'll see what happens when we build this. But I have some pallet wood already cut, so we're going to take a look at that, and I'm going to let you know what I cut, and then we're going to start sanding it down and putting it together. Whenever I was ripping these boards before I got started, I was using the Milwaukee M12 circular saw. It is really, really nice. I have it paired up with an XC 6.0 battery, and we'll do some videos on the tools as well. But this is a tool I was ripping with. It did a really good job, and it didn't deplete much, if at all. I don't think there's a little battery marker right here that'll illuminate. You can see that right here, and you see all four are still done, and I was ripping multiple boards, so that's pretty good. So I just want to show you guys that saw real quick in case you were curious, because I'm not showing the ripping process. Here are the boards that I've cut so far. These are 12-inch pallet boards. I ripped them at about 2 inches, meaning we had a board that was built a lot like this, and I was ripping it into thirds, basically, that are about 2 inches a piece. I have some end caps here that are going to go on the end of the crate, so we're going to have pieces like this that go into the end of the crate. And probably do 1, 2, 3 of those on a side. And I have a bottom of the crate, which will appear something like this. And we're going to have 2 sides, and then slats, and little handles that are going to be mounted to the top here. First, I have to sand all these pieces and get them ready, so that's what we're going to do first. And once I sand them, we can maybe whitewash them. I'll be thinking about it while I sand. I'm a guy who flies by the seat of his pants. Let's see what happens while the sanding happens. I have 2 different sanders I like to use as far as power sanders. I have the Ryobi Corner Cat, which has no dust collection at all. And you see I had the wrong pad on it too. So it's a good demonstration so far. Battery goes here. I use this one. I also have a Random Orbit Sander. Again, this is battery powered. Ryobi 18-volt batteries. I have a lot of those. And it's a pretty good sander. A lot of times I don't need something like this unless I'm doing a bigger area. So I'll end up using the Corner Cat because the Corner Cat can really reach into like little corners and grooves and stuff. So that's what I'm going to use this time as well. A little tip, you guys can see a bunch of these nail heads sitting here. When I go through the pallets, I do like to punch out all the nails. When I cut the pallets, I cut it with a Sawzall. So the nails are cut off flush-ish with the boards. Flush-ish is a word meaning sometimes they're flush, sometimes they're not. So what I do is I take nail punch, put it in there, and just back those nails out, then pull them out with a hammer. So we'll have 6 slats to do, 2 end caps, and 1 bottom. With pallet wood, you don't sand a whole lot because you want some of that imperfection to shine through, or at least that's what I've found whenever I'm doing it. If you sand it down, it's almost like you're using regular lumber, which has that new finish to it. But this, you want a little bit of that old and that imperfection. We got some nail spots. We got a few surface cracks right there. So we're going to continue using this. You got to watch out though, because there'll be some cracks in some of these that are, you know, all the way through the board. A lot of times you can see a little surface crack there and you'll be all right, especially with pallets, because, you know, what I say is about 90% of the boards are unusable-ish. Again, there's a gray area. So I just want to let you guys know that. Let some of that oldness shine through. I'm going to finish the rest of these and we can go ahead and assemble. You know, while I do a lot of work, I like to, you know, hum some of my favorite rock songs because we're dudes here and we like our dude music. See, what's one of my favorites? You burst on the scene, already a legend, the unwashed phenomenon, the original vagabond. Why why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I long for yesterday. Our surface cracks on this one are pushing the envelope, but I'm going to accept it. So now I have my boards all sanded down. Everything's looking good and smooth. I'm going to take this cloth, which I've dampened just slightly, and kind of get all the dust off these boards, or as much of it as I can. Might take a few minutes to dry back after that. But, see, there's plenty of dust that comes off these things. Might have to wet this one again. But just want to clear all the dust off of it, so when we whitewash, it won't cause an issue. I have some of my cords and stuff in the way here, so forgive me. The fourth wall is showing. Literally, the fourth wall. I have these gloves here, look like I'm about to check at the airport, but it keeps my hands from getting all this paint all over it, because what I have here, and I'll show you, it's white paint, but it's also mixed 1-to-1 with water to keep it really thin, because we're going to put this stuff on to wipe it off. So I have my paint mixture here in this Mason style jar, what it is, and I'll shake it up right before we get started, because it's water and paint, and it'll kind of separate a little bit in there. I'll shake it up, and I'll pour it in this little container right here so I can brush it. And then I don't really have a whole lot left in here. Abracadabra. You'll see sort of the consistency here. It's very thin. I have to make some more here soon. I'm going to do all 4 sides, so I need to go ahead and make a nice little area to keep them off. I don't want a bunch of paint all over the drop cloth. I don't want the drop cloth to ruin the finish of the board, so I'll prop them up a little bit. So let's go ahead and do one. I'll zoom in and show you guys up close. Also, honesty is the best policy here. I learned this technique on YouTube. I saw a lady doing this very same thing, and that's pretty much why I do it. Now, most of my stuff, like the churches I make, I only do one side. So this will be kind of interesting now that I think about it. Should I do both sides or just do one side to start with? I might better do the whole thing. I got my gloves on, right? So let's take a look here. I'm going to kind of try to hold it up so you guys can see it. See, it brushes on like paint, but it dissipates into the wood real fast. You can see that. It's pretty much already seeped into the wood. Real thin. And the idea is it's easier to wipe down and give you that whitewashed look, and you can sort of see why. So let me continue to brush this stuff on. After I do this front side, I'll go ahead and finish it up off camera, where it's a little bit easier when I put it at a better angle. Remember, the good part about this is that the imperfection is what makes it perfect. You can see the raw end here with the saws cut up. It really sucks it up right here. So, I mean, all this paint will look like it's just about disappeared. Now, it don't have to be perfect because we're going to wipe it down. Go ahead and get a cloth to wipe it down. I'll go ahead and you run it across there over and over and over. Try to fill in a little bit. Fills in some of the spots here. Here's how I do it. Some people might do it a little bit differently, and I think that's probably fine. There you go. That's what it looks like right there. So a little bit interesting looking. Every piece looks a little different. So that's the cool part right there. So I'm going to set it right here, and I'm going to go through all the other pieces, and then we're going to let them dry out completely. Here is a look at all the different boards. You see each one of them has a little bit different look to it. Type of grain, type of wood, all of it's a little bit different. So it's kind of cool. But now for the least fun part, which is clean up all the junk and wait for it to dry. So it's been a few hours since I was out here last, and the temperature's gone down significantly. You see I'm wearing a lot of clothes here, have my Gorilla Grip gloves on as usual. I love them. But it's cold. I got the little buddy out here. The little buddy is an awesome addition to any workshop that does not have climate control. So I'm going to take some of these boards. Let's take a closer look at this. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, and you guys can give me your feedback on it. This is my bottom right here. It's going to have a side like this. You know, the other one's going to go like that. There's going to be slats across the side. Then I'll put some handles on it. Maybe on the side. I'm not sure yet. I think I'm going to face these nice smooth sides out like this. I believe that's going to be the better way to do it. And I'm going to drill holes on the end. I thought about different ways to do this. I have a brad nailer, and I think brads, that just don't give it the right feel. So I'm going to use these galvanized nails. Hopefully, I don't know what size these are, 40, 60, somewhere in there. I'm going to drill out 3 holes that are a little bit smaller than the nails just to decrease the chance it's going to split this wood. Hopefully it doesn't split the wood. Keep your fingers crossed. So I'm going to go ahead and drill 3 holes here. Let's figure out which drill bit we're going to use. I use these DeWalt drill bits. They go on sale for $9.99. I think they're really great. They're really wonderful. I got this at Lowe's over the Black Friday holiday. Looking in here, it looks to me like 3/32 or 5/64. I'm going to go with 3/32. I want a tight fit, but I want the biggest hole I can possibly get in order to not get the wood split by driving this nail in there. I'll be using the Milwaukee Fuel M12 drill. It's a hammer drill too. It's really good. Really small, really compact, and relatively powerful for being a 12-volt tool. I was going to use my drill press, but I forgot to acquire one. I'll go ahead and get the nails started, I do believe. Let me get my hammer. I have this hammer, got it at Walmart. It seems like a pretty good hammer, 16 ounces, you can see. Has a little nail set on there, so not too bad. You can do this number with it, in other words. And hit your nail in there, and then hit it again. I don't need to do it this time. I'm just going to drive down the nails into this board. And there's already holes in it. Just going to get them started. Seems like a pretty good fit. Nothing ever fits exactly right with pallets. So now we're going to be putting these slats on there. I could put these 2 on here and then center the other one in between the 2, since these will be lined up with the bottom and top, which will make it a little bit easier to do. And I can pre-drill these too. We don't want to be splitting anything. I don't want to ruin our night here. So I can pre-drill them while it's in place. I like to look at nails better than screws. Because you wouldn't have screws in one of these little rough things anyway, because screws kind of make you think something's machine made, and we don't want that. So we could put some wood glue on these things too, but I don't think with these nails that we're going to need it. Famous last words from the fool or whatever. We already have some imperfect wood, and that's part of it. You know, it's nice to have the imperfect wood. I like that stuff. I think it's pretty fun to use it, actually. Because it takes some of the pressure off you. If you have imperfect wood, like, well, there's no way I can get this right. The wood's imperfect. Here is our milk crate, maybe that's what it's called. Looking just as rough as it's supposed to, looking pretty good. Exactly what it's supposed to look like is pallet wood. Rough but beautiful. Shabby chic or farmhouse chic, I'm not quite sure what you call it, but that's what it is. Let me see if I can find these handles. We'll see how they look on this thing, whether or not they're going to look like something or not. These are the handles I have. They are utility pulls. That's what we call handles here, a utility pull. And I believe these are from Walmart, if I'm not mistaken. So let's take them out. I was hoping they'd be black. I wanted black ones on here. So we'll see what the dealio is. Nice lightweight handle. A little too thick though. Unless I want to put it on the side. Alright, so we can put it on the side like this because they're too big on the top. But I kind of like it on the side. It looks pretty good actually. I like the idea of putting them on the side. I think that's what we're going to do. That's all I needed. I'll let the size of the handles dictate where we put it. But I think it's actually going to look pretty good. So we'll plot that out, maybe come around centered on this first particular slat, draw a line across here, draw a line right here where we're supposed to be, and center that up. We'll go ahead and do that. Now the center of this slat, these are about 2 inches, so it's going to be about 1 inch down is the center. These hinges are around 5 inches. That means that about, let's say, 1/2 inch and 4.5 roughly is where those are going to be. So 1/2 inch and 4.5, centered at 5, down 1. Actually, we could probably eyeball this one pretty well, I would think. So we got to come down about 1 inch to be in the center there. That's going to be pretty easy to eyeball, if you guys can see that. So we're going to be able to eyeball that pretty well. I use the word eyeball a lot. That shows my refinement as not much. So I'm going to just slide this over. We're going to make some marks here, and I think we're going to be good to go. Because I don't think we're going to need to measure out and make a bunch of calculations, just based on the fact that we can pretty much see how it's going to look right there. You guys can see that looks pretty good. Now these screws, we've got to make sure they're not going to be too thick. That's pretty daggone close. That is almost all the way through there. That is just shy. So, oh my gosh. All right, and plus we're going to have to drill out these holes on top right here and make sure we don't penetrate through, because we're still going to drill them out. We're just going to put a little stop on the drill so we can prevent it from going all the way through. Tough. I don't have a drill stop in this size, but I know that I don't want to go about that far for that screw. I want a little bit left over right there. So I'm actually going to put a piece of tape right on there and kind of rig it up. My middle name, Zack, zacharypsioda. There we are. If you guys saw that penetrate on the bottom, I'm sorry about that. All right, let's put this handle on. Let's get a handle on the situation. All right. All right, I'm going to go grab a drill because I'm not going to sit here and fool with this. We can put the other impact in extremely slow speed. Slow speed so we don't bust something. Plus, we can't torque it down too far or else it's going to go through the bottom of the apparatus, and that would kind of ruin our day. Impact driver M12 with a 4.0 amp hour battery. I really like these things. This thing is super light. I mean, really, really light. I'm going to stop right there. Make sure I didn't ruin any days down there. All right, if you look on the top of this thing, there's different modes. I selected one. I just wanted it slow as possible so I don't sit there and strip out a screw or do something awful. Looks like we didn't penetrate the inside of the box, which is good. I'm going to go ahead and set up and put on the other handle, and then I'll show you the finished product because we're about done for today. So our box is all done, and I'll probably be posting these online to sell. It's definitely more structurally sound than some of the ones you buy at like the craft store or Walmart. I see them at Walmart and stuff like that. I'm like, this is, we need something that looks good and finished, and you can actually use, and it's kind of beefy, which is what this is. I kind of like having something that's, it's nice, but it's also not going to break in like the next day or two, or something where it's just for show that you couldn't actually use if you wanted to. Now, a lot of people probably wouldn't use this, probably just set it somewhere and put like a flower pot inside of it, or I don't know. Let me see if I can't find the most beautiful thing and arrangement to put in here real quick and show you guys. So I found it, and you know what? It doesn't get any more beautiful than the Makita trim router with plunge base and Milwaukee Fuel M18 jigsaw. That's a beautiful arrangement. You might say flowers will be better, but I beg to differ. This is the best you can do. Guys and girls, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. This is a really good saw, the Milwaukee jigsaw. I used it to cut out those templates earlier. And this trim router has been awesome. It's Milwaukee, comes with a different base, just a regular like trim style base. And then you take that off and you can put this plunge base on. And I'm telling you what, it is really, really awesome. I love it a lot. So that's all for us for today. Build us a nice little farmhouse crate to hold our whatever in. We can decide whatever we want. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you build something nice. Come see me again on Zack's Workshop.